Rejection is something that none of us can avoid. But if you would like to know exactly how you can handle it and let it slide right off your back, then keep watching the rest of this video. Welcome back to another video from the Mind Counsel. Now, rejection, it's something that none of us like. It's a lot of us want to avoid it like the plague, but it's something that will happen to you eventually at some point in your life. Therefore, today I'm going to tell you exactly what rejection is and how you can deal with it. So the next time that it happens to you, it's going to slide right off your back. It's not going to make a big difference to you and you're going to be just fine. And this is especially helpful if you're in dating, or if you are looking for a job, or if you're in a position in life where you feel like you're putting yourself out there and you're more likely to face rejection. Now, the first thing I want to talk to you about today is I want to actually get you thinking about why rejection is so painful. And we need to kind of know where the root of the pain comes from so we can better understand how to overcome it. So this is actually a very important question. And I kind of want you to answer this question yourself. Why does rejection hurt so much? Why are we so upset when it happens to us that sometimes it takes us days, weeks, even months to get over rejection? And some of us, there's some types of rejection in our life we never really get over. Now, why do you think that is? Well, let me break it down to you in a more scientific way. If you think way back to our ancestors, around the time when it was the dawn of man, the first few humans who lived on this earth would have lived in small groups, and they would have needed to live in these groups in order to survive. Because as you know, things back then were very difficult. We didn't have the modern luxuries that we have right now, which is water on a tap. If you're hungry, you can get on an app and have somebody bring the food to your door. And you can even stock up on food. You have central heating. You have fire when you need it. You have electricity. Our ancestors didn't have any of these things. So in order to survive and to have a reasonably good quality of life, they needed to band together and stick together. Being part of groups was the essence of survival, essentially. So everyone had a role to play in these groups. We had the people who used to go out and gather and hunt for the food. Then we had those who were more vulnerable, maybe like children and the elderly. And we had those who were taking care of these vulnerable people. And we had those who were building, maintaining shelters, who were going out there and gathering materials and building tools for people to use. There was many different things that you needed to do in order to stay a part of this tribe. And society as a whole right now is kind of the same thing, really, if you think about it, but we're just much larger volume of people, and the groups are much larger. So you're also going to have in society roles where you're going to have nurses, doctors, firemen, sanitation workers. We're going to have people who work in the electric field, engineers, construction, you name it, we have it, and everyone has a role to fulfill in society. However, what we had back then and what we don't necessarily need right now is back then you had to be part of a group in order to survive. I mean, your actual life depended on it. Whereas now, we don't need to be part of a group. We don't need to be an active part of a group, let's say, in order to survive. We can do it without actually interacting on a regular basis with people or being part of a group. However, our brains and our instincts, our primal instincts, have all been set within us from many years ago, which was what our ancestors had, which was that we need to belong in order to survive. So we still have this instinct within us, which is why when we face rejection, our instinct kicks in and we're like, hold on a minute, I was rejected. Does that mean I'm going to be able to make it? What's going to happen next? Oh my God, we're threatened. And your brain just kind of goes into emergency mode and it's just thinking the worst of the worst. And that's why rejection hurts so much, because your brain is struggling to understand what's going to happen next. It's gone into emergency mode. It's like a big alarm has gone off in you, and you need to calm yourself down and think, hold on a minute, take a step back and just be like, well, I know that rejection hurts is because I have a need within me to belong, and this need has not been fulfilled, and my body is thinking that because I'm not belonging, I'm automatically in some sort of danger. And this is just not true. So you have to kind of calm yourself down and calm your mind down. Firstly, by doing this, is to remind yourself that the pain from rejection is a knee-jerk reaction to not belonging and our absolute primal instinct need to belong in order to survive. Now that we've kind of established that, we need to kind of move it forward to the modern era. So, as I've said before, you don't really need to be part of a group. You don't really need to be part of even an active part of society in order to survive. You can make it even just working from home or doing your own thing and not necessarily socializing as much. Even though human beings are social creatures and we need a certain level of social interaction, you're not going to die if you don't go and meet Tina on the weekend. Do you see what I mean? So it's very important for us to realize that in the modern day that we live in, if you are rejected, your life is not threatened, and any kind of pain reaction that you're having is literally your body telling you, we need to belong. If we don't belong, we're in danger. So you have to calm your body down and be like, no, we're not in danger. If I don't belong, I really don't care. Everything's going to be fine. I'm here, I'm sitting, I'm breathing, I'm eating, I'm drinking. Everything is fine. Now, the second thing I want you to think about is when we are rejected and we don't feel like we belong, whether it's because of we were rejected from a job that we really wanted, we went on a date with somebody and the date didn't work out. Whatever your reason is for the rejection, we actually have to learn to reframe our thinking on how this rejection impacts our lives. Now, like I've said before, our brain is telling us, oh, rejection means danger. It means lack of survival. And obviously the first thing you're going to do is tell it, well, actually, no, it doesn't. We're going to be just fine. Well, the second thing that you're going to tell it is the rejection happening was a good thing. And the reason is because you are actually being protected from people or situations that don't appreciate you. And why would anybody want to be with somebody or in a situation where they are not appreciated? All that's going to do is make you feel worse over time. So if somebody has rejected you or you've been rejected from something, then take that no as an, okay, this is not the right place for me. I need to then go out into the world and figure out what else is going to make me happy, or where else I feel like I can go and find another job that I'm probably going to enjoy more. Take that no as I'm not appreciated here. I can do better than this. Rather than, oh, they said no to me, that means I'm not good enough. No, absolutely not. That's not what it is. You could be too good. And there have been instances where people, and I've worked with people who have done recruitment, and I've actually recruited people myself, and I know that sometimes somebody is too overqualified and they will not get picked for a job because they are overqualified. So it's not that you're not good enough. The reason that they have may be something totally different, but the point is you are not being appreciated by this person or this situation or this job or this company, and therefore you need to leave. So rather than you being in a situation where even if they take you on, maybe they treat you badly because they don't actually appreciate you, isn't it better that you walk away from something that doesn't actually appreciate you and therefore doesn't deserve you? That's a rhetorical question. Also, what I also want you to think is, why do I really want to be with somebody or a part of a group or in a situation that has shown me that it does not want me or appreciate me? And the answer to this is because you feel like you need the approval of this company or this person or these people. And looking for approval and acceptance from outside sources to bring yourself benefit and happiness is never ever going to make you happy. And every time you hear a no, you're really going to struggle because you're always going to be looking for that approval and acceptance from outside in order to feel worthy within yourself. Instead of thinking, okay, if they said no, they didn't appreciate me, I'm gonna go somewhere else where I am appreciated. And oftentimes what I find is working within the mental health community that people who struggle the most with rejection are the ones that who have always looked the most for approval and acceptance from outside sources, whether that be in their childhood and them growing up, that they felt like they were never good enough or they were never told that they were good enough. Something has made it so they feel like if they don't get another person's approval, that they're not going to feel good enough. So if that's the case and you feel like you really need that approval from this person and for them to show you that they like you or that they want you in order for you to feel good about yourself, then I highly recommend that you work on your self-love, your self-confidence, and I have a lot more videos available that's going to be able to help you with that. And stay tuned to the Mind Counsel because I'm always going to be talking about that anyway. But it's something that harks back into something a lot deeper within yourself. We need to not stand at the closed door and cry at it and think, oh, why is this door closed? We need to think, okay, the door is closed. That's probably because what's behind it was not good for me. And that moves me on to my next point, which is we tend to fantasize a lot. We tend to put on rose-tinted glasses about a lot of things in life. If you went on a date with somebody and you thought that they were great, and you've only been on one date with this person and maybe you've only spent like a couple of hours on this date with this person, and you're thinking, oh my god, this person is amazing, I really want to see them again, and they don't ask you out for a second date and you're crushed. Now what's happened here is you've actually only met this person for a short amount of time. You've built this fantasy in your mind about how great they are. You don't actually really know them at all. And when this fantasy is kind of not been fulfilled, you're thinking, well, why are they stopping me from having all these amazing things that I know exist about them? When in reality, you don't actually know anything about them. And them shutting the door is actually, like I said, doing you a favor because they're just showing you that they don't appreciate you. Don't fantasize about all the good that lies behind the closed door. In fact, try and rationalize, and even if it makes you feel better, just think, actually, you know what? There could be something terrible behind that closed door, because that's actually going to make you feel better than if you keep thinking, no, there's a Lamborghini behind that closed door. When 9 times out of 10, that's absolutely not the case. You're just going to end up making yourself ill thinking about all these endless possibilities, none of which may even happen. It's always better for you to trick your mind into thinking that something not happening and not working out was because it was not good for you. It was a redirection, and that the reason that it didn't work out was something beyond your control, rather than you thinking it happened because you were not good enough. So you have to kind of trick yourself always. Instead of thinking, oh, you know what, I could have had amazingness if this had happened, you always need to think worst case scenario, in the sense of, I'm so glad that didn't happen, because if it did happen, imagine all of the bad things that could have happened. Imagine all the stuff that I'm being saved from. So the next time a guy doesn't call you back for a date, instead of thinking, oh my god, but he was so amazing and we could have had babies together and we would have had a really nice house and we would have driven a really nice car and we could have watched all these movies together, why didn't he call me back? Is it because I'm not pretty enough? Is it because I did something wrong on the date? No, I actually want you to think about making an excuse for yourself and think, the reason that he didn't call me back, oh, do you know what, he probably got offered a job out of state and that's why he didn't call me back. And if that helps to trick your mind into thinking that, then do that, because being kind to yourself should be the number one priority instead of hurting yourself. So telling yourself things like this, and these things are very, very plausible, by the way. Just as it's plausible that he didn't call you back because he didn't feel the chemistry, it's also very plausible that he didn't call you back because he in fact did get called out of the country and had to go somewhere else. And you know what? You can't disprove and prove either. So why not go with the thing that makes you feel better? Now, one of the most important things I want to talk to you about today in dealing with rejection and letting it not affect you is that you need to talk about it. I actually did a video on the importance of talking about things, which you can find just here. The reason that you need to do this is because talking about things to another person who is an objective party can actually help you see things a lot clearer. So as I was talking about before, we tend to jump to worst case scenarios. We tend to jump to things like, oh my god, but he was so amazing. Oh my god, is it because I'm not pretty enough? Instead of thinking all the other rational explanations that could have happened why he didn't give you the second date. Talking to another person that you actually care about, that you know cares about you and that you can trust, is going to help you see an objective third-party opinion. And not only will it let you see another objective third-party opinion, it will also make you feel included and loved, which, as we know, when we are rejected, is the first thing that goes out the window, is feeling included and loved. So we need to kind of get that feeling back. So going to somebody that actually loves us and that we trust or that we love is going to make us feel included. It's going to make us not feel alone. It's going to make us feel part of the pack, and it's going to make you feel better already. Another person who is more objective is more likely to give you a more logical explanation of why things happened the way that they did. And it's much harder to be objective when you yourself are in the middle of tangled feelings and emotions anyway. So talking it out is definitely going to help you feel better. And if you're in a position where you feel like, I don't want to talk about it, maybe it's something that you feel embarrassed about, or it's something, even though you shouldn't feel embarrassed about it, by the way, or it's something that you just don't want to talk about and you rather just keep it to yourself, then journal about it. Write it down. If you don't want to actually have a proper journal, like a diary, my little diary, then actually just write it down. Write down how you're feeling that day, and writing things down will actually help you to see things clearly and in a more logical perspective as well. You're going to be able to give yourself more solutions rather than coming up with more problems. It helps you to kind of untangle the mess of emotions that are going on in your head. And even if all you do at the end of writing everything down is you pick up the piece of paper and you burn it, which is also a great way to kind of release those emotions and move on from them, then do that, because getting it out of your system is incredibly important. When we leave toxic feelings and emotions within ourselves without releasing them, they can overwhelm us, and this is when we go into bigger problems like anxiety, depression, panic attacks, and it can really negatively impact our health. Okay, so I'm going to have more videos on rejection and giving you more of an insight in how to deal with rejection and every other thing that you need to deal with in life. So stay tuned to the Mind Counsel channel, and thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and I hope you have a great one.